Comfort is killing you, and you don't even see it happening. You think you're safe. You think life is fine. But comfort is the silent killer of potential. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It tells you to sleep in. It tells you to skip the hard thing just for today. It wraps you in softness while it rots your discipline, your grit, and your fire. Comfort is not peace. It's poison. It lulls you into mediocrity. It hands you pleasure and steals your purpose. You don't realize it, but every time you choose ease over effort, a part of you dies. Slowly, quietly. Comfort is the silent executioner of greatness. You scroll for hours, sleep until noon, skip the gym, settle for less, and wonder why you feel empty inside. You laugh it off, tell yourself everyone's doing it, but deep down, you feel it. You betrayed yourself. You traded challenge for convenience. You sacrificed progress for peace. And now you're living a life that looks fine on the outside, but feels hollow in your chest. You're not stuck, you stopped. And the worst part? You're pretending not to notice. You're surviving, not living. And surviving isn't enough for a man. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not evolving. You're decaying. There was a time you wanted more. You had vision, hunger, drive. You looked in the mirror and believed you were born for something greater. But now, you don't even recognize that man. You move through your days like a ghost, there but not really alive. You're not depressed, you're disengaged. Your fire didn't go out overnight. It dimmed, bit by bit, every time you chose comfort instead of confrontation. Every time you said, "I'll do it tomorrow." Every time you hid from the hard things. The man you were born to be is buried beneath layers of laziness and fear. And comfort is the dirt covering his grave. This isn't about hustle culture. This isn't about productivity hacks or motivational fluff. This is about identity, about who you are when the world isn't watching. Because deep down, you know exactly who you could be. And that gap between who you are and who you could be, that gap is pain. That gap is regret. That gap is where your potential is bleeding out. And I'm not here to let that continue. I'm here to rip the mask off and force you to confront the reality you've been avoiding. Comfort is not your friend. It's your enemy. It's keeping you tame when you were born to be wild. It's keeping you weak when you were built to be powerful. So no, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I won't tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, the hard, brutal, necessary truth. This video isn't here to pat you on the back. It's here to punch you in the mouth. Because sometimes that's what it takes to wake up a sleeping warrior. If you came here for softness, you're in the wrong place. But if you came here to confront the parts of you that have been hiding in comfort, welcome. You're in the right place. Welcome to Primal Will. This is the space where men stop making excuses and start building dominance. If you're ready to wake up, to grow, to reclaim your edge, like the video, share it with another man who needs to hear this, and subscribe to join the brotherhood. Now let's get to work. You're here because something inside you knows what I just said is true. You feel it, deep in your chest. That quiet ache, that internal voice whispering that you're not living the life you were built for. The life you could be living if you just got out of your own way. That voice isn't your enemy. It's your last lifeline. It's the real you, clawing to escape the soft prison you've built around yourself. And if you're still listening, that means there's still time. You haven't flatlined yet, but that window's closing fast. Men were not made for ease. We were made for resistance. Pressure, impact. We were built to build, to carry weight, to rise in chaos. Struggle is our natural state. Comfort, on the other hand, is the unnatural drug. It makes you forget what you're capable of. It turns warriors into weaklings. It strips men of their instinct to fight. Your hunger dies. Your ambition shrinks. And before you know it, you're sitting on a couch wondering where your drive went. It didn't go anywhere. It was suffocated. Look around. We live in a generation of sedated men. Not by force, but by choice. Numbed by content. Weakened by distraction. Trapped in a dopamine loop of quick pleasure and long-term pain. You've been conditioned to fear discomfort like it's some disease. But here's the truth. Pain is your compass. Pain tells you where to grow, where to lean in, where to rise. Without it, you stay stuck, comfortable, and eventually completely irrelevant. You think you need hacks? A new app? A better morning routine? No. You need to change your damn standard. You need to raise the bar so high that average becomes unacceptable. You need to stop negotiating with your weakness and start waging war against it. You need to kill the version of you that keeps whispering, "It's okay, you're doing enough." No, you're not. Not even close. And you know it. This isn't just about being productive. This is about being powerful. This is about reclaiming the part of you that used to dream bigger, move harder, and fight longer. The part of you that once said, "I want more," and meant it. That part still exists, but it's been buried beneath years of soft choices. It's time to dig it up, to sharpen the blade. Because the longer you stay soft, the closer you get to becoming invisible. And a man who's invisible to himself will never matter to anyone else. If you keep choosing comfort, your future dies in real time. Your relationships rot. Your body breaks. Your energy fades. Your sense of purpose slips through your fingers like sand. Your woman won't respect you. Your kids won't look up to you. And the world will walk right past you. Not because it's cruel, but because you gave up. You chose to be nothing when you were capable of everything. And that's the core of it, choice. Every moment, you're making a choice. Every time you hit snooze, skip a workout, ignore your goals, you're choosing comfort over conquest. And eventually, those choices harden into character. You become a man who used to try, who used to believe, who used to care. And when that happens, it's game over. You'll be breathing, but you won't be living. That's why this video matters. It's not a motivational pep talk. It's a wake-up call. It's a mirror, a gut punch, a reminder that if you're tired of being average, then act like it. This isn't therapy. This is war. War against the weakness you've accepted. War against the lies you've told yourself. War against the life you've settled for. Because here's the real danger. Comfort doesn't just stop your progress. It reverses it. It takes everything you once fought for and burns it down while you sleepwalk through life. And if you don't snap out of it, one day you'll look back and realize you had everything you needed, but never did a damn thing with it. And by then, it'll be too late. So if you're here expecting soft advice or sugar-coated solutions, leave now. This space isn't for the faint-hearted. This channel isn't for men who want to improve. It's for men who are ready to transform. You want change? Then you're going to have to earn it. With sweat, with discipline, with choices that hurt in the short term but build legacy in the long term. This video is an alarm clock, a slap in the face, a line in the sand. From here on out, you don't walk back. You move forward. You rise. You fight. Because if you don't, your life will stay exactly the same. And that should scare the hell out of you. Let's get into it. Now that you're awake, stay awake. Because here's where most men check out. The part where the truth starts cutting too deep. Where the spotlight hits the dark corners of your life. The ones you've tried to keep hidden. But that's where we're going. That's where the rot lives. And if you don't expose it, it will keep spreading until there's nothing left of the man you were meant to be. This isn't about being harsh. It's about being honest. And that's something the world has stopped giving men. So you're getting it here. Let's call it what it is. You've gone soft. Soft in your habits. Soft in your mindset. Soft in your standards. You keep pressing snooze like it's no big deal. You avoid conflict because it's uncomfortable. You lie to yourself and call it self-care. But every time you do that, you lose. You bleed a little more strength, a little more confidence, a little more self-respect, until you wake up one day and realize you've got nothing left. No edge, no fire, just a comfortable shell of who you used to be. And here's the brutal truth. Power doesn't come back on its own. You take it. You earn it. You fight for it. Or you stay exactly where you are, watching other men rise while you rot in excuses. Every man who made something of himself had to first admit how far he had fallen. Every champion was once a loser who refused to stay one. So ask yourself, how much longer are you going to lie about where you are? You say, I'm tired. But let's be real. What you're tired of is pretending. Tired of running from your potential. Tired of numbing yourself with food, shows, porn, and scrolling. You don't need rest. You need purpose. You say, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is just a hiding place for cowards. You've been stacking tomorrows for years, and all you have to show for it is regret. These aren't reasons. They're lies. And every time you repeat them, you convince yourself it's okay to stay weak. You've made fear your religion. You've given your whole life to avoiding pain, avoiding risk, avoiding failure. And yet, you're still suffering, still stuck, still frustrated. Why? Because the life you want is on the other side of fear, not on the sidelines. Fear will never leave you, but you can decide whether it controls you or fuels you. Right now, it owns you. It dictates every soft decision you make. It's time to break that chain. Stop pointing fingers. It's not the system. It's not your boss, not your parents, not your ex. The real enemy is staring back in a mirror. That man, you, has made 1,000 little compromises that led you here. You let yourself off the hook. You broke your own promises. You lowered your standards and justified it with life is hard. Guess what? It's supposed to be hard. That's where you're forged. That's where your identity is built. You've been living in a padded cell, and you call it normal. You've convinced yourself that average is acceptable. That bare minimum is enough. That just surviving is success. But it's not, and you know it. You can feel it. That aching hollowness in your chest. That voice telling you this isn't it. That you were built for more. That's not anxiety. That's your soul begging you to wake the hell up. You're not just losing time. You're losing yourself. Your pride. Your masculinity. Your inner compass. Every time you choose ease over effort, distraction over discipline, softness over strength, you cast a vote against your own greatness. And that's why you feel like something's missing. Because it is. The man you were born to be is buried beneath the man you've tolerated for too long. Remember this. Muhammad Ali didn't say, "I love training." He said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." But today, most men want to skip the suffering and still be great. They want the reward without the price, the glory without the grind. That mindset is poison. It's fantasy, and it keeps you locked in mediocrity. The truth is, pain is the price. The forge, the teacher. You don't get to grow without it. You don't get to be respected without earning it. You don't get to be a man without struggle. So every time you run from it, you run from manhood itself. That's why you feel lost, because you're not doing hard things. You're not proving anything to yourself. You're hiding and calling it peace. There's no hack for becoming a man of substance. You build him through sweat, through discomfort, through trial. You want discipline? You earn it. You want confidence? You create it through kept promises. You want respect? Start by respecting yourself enough to stop living like a coward. The real tragedy isn't that life is hard. The real tragedy is how easily most men quit on themselves the moment it gets hard. One tough season, one heartbreak, one failure, and they fold. They retreat into comfort, into distraction, and they never come back. That's not what men are made for. You were built to endure, to outlast, to overcome. But that part of you, the warrior, the builder, the beast, he's gone quiet. Not dead, just buried, under comfort, under self-pity, under the lie that this is just how life is now. But you know better. That fire still flickers. You wouldn't be here if it didn't. The question is, are you ready to feed it? Because when you start choosing challenge over comfort, everything changes. When you stop avoiding the hard conversations, the early mornings, the painful workouts, the cold truth, you start becoming a man of weight, of gravity, a man who walks into a room and doesn't have to speak to be respected. That's not given. It's earned. And it starts by doing the thing you least want to do. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents. Not your friends. Not your woman. Not some miracle opportunity. Just you. That's the beauty of it. And the burden? You have the power, but only if you own it. Only if you stop waiting for a sign and become the sign. Every time you avoid doing what you know you need to do, you tell your mind, I don't matter. But every time you show up, when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching, you reinforce the belief that you are built for this, that you can become something more. So here's the final question. How much longer will you tolerate the version of yourself that hides? How many more years will you give to weakness, distraction, and regret? You know it needs to change. And now, it's time to do something about it. The truth is one thing, but But truth without action? That's just noise. You've heard enough noise. You've been preached at, lectured, inspired, and then you did nothing. That cycle ends now. This isn't just a call out, it's a call to arms. If you're still listening, still here, then good. You're ready to move, to build, to become. Because now it's time for war. Not with the world, but with the version of you that's held you back for far too long. The weak version, the passive version, the maybe later version. We kill him today. Here's how. Step 1. Kill the comfort habits. The war starts in the morning. The second that alarm goes off, you're either a killer or a coward. There is no in between. Wake up early, before the sun, before the excuses. Make your bed, not because it's some magical habit, but because it's a declaration. I control my world. Take cold showers, not because it's trendy, but because it trains your mind to do the hard thing when comfort whispers otherwise. Delete the apps that drain you. You know the ones. TikTok, Instagram, endless YouTube rabbit holes. They're not harmless. They're handcuffs. And the moment you feel resistance to any of this, that's your green light. Resistance is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Comfort isn't neutral. It's a parasite. It feeds on potential. It tells you you're good enough when you're miles behind where you should be. Start doing what makes you uncomfortable on purpose. That's how you take your power back. The gym when you're tired. The call when you're nervous. The discipline when it's inconvenient. Your body and mind won't like it, but they'll respect you for it. You'll feel alive again. That's what discomfort gives you life. Step 2. Reclaim your focus. In a world built on distraction, focus is your unfair advantage. So protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. Turn off the noise. Literally. 1 hour a day, no phone, no music, no notifications. Just you, your work, your breath. You'll be shocked how loud your thoughts are when everything else goes silent. That's good. That's clarity. That's where the breakthroughs come from. Your focus is your superpower. But every scroll, every pointless conversation, every dopamine hit, it's like pouring water on a fire you're trying to build. Guard your mind. Schedule time for deep work like it's a meeting with your destiny. Because it is. And the men who win in this world, they're not smarter. They're not luckier. They're just focused. And they guard that focus like a wolf guards his den. Step 3. Train daily. Your body is your first weapon. Your outer world reflects your inner discipline. Weak body, weak mind. That's not philosophy, it's biology. Train every single day. No excuses. You don't need a fancy gym or a perfect program. You need effort, pain, strain, sweat. You need to push until it hurts, because that's when the growth starts. The man you want to become? He's buried under 10,000 reps you haven't done yet. And don't just train to look good. Train to become dangerous. To be the kind of man who's ready when life swings. To have a spine forged in iron. To develop the kind of physical presence that speaks before you do. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but you do need to be a weapon. Capable, strong, steady. Because nothing earns respect faster than a man who clearly respects himself. Step 4. Build a battle plan. Men without a plan are men being played. Every week, sit down and think. What do you want? What needs to happen to get there? Break it down. Reverse engineer it. Monthly goals become weekly targets. Weekly targets become daily action. And if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. You're not busy. You're just unorganized. And that's killing your progress. Structure is freedom. Chaos is the killer. If you don't own your time, someone else will. Start planning your days with precision. From the moment you wake up to the second you lay down, own your hours. And leave no room for guesswork. Clarity creates power. Power creates movement. And movement creates results. Your goals don't need more motivation. They need a map. Step 5. Get around fire. If you walk with sheep, you'll never howl like a wolf. Get around men who burn, who chase growth like it's their religion. Join a gym that pushes you. Find a mentor who makes you uncomfortable. Cut off friends who want you to stay average. Because if your circle doesn't challenge you, it's a cage. Men harpen men. Always have. Always will. You need fire around you. Men who'll call out your softness. Who'll slap the excuses out of your mouth. Not because they hate you, but because they see you. and they won't let you waste yourself. Brotherhood is gasoline for discipline, and isolation, that's death. You weren't meant to do this alone. You need competition, accountability. You need someone to tell you you're slipping. And you need to listen. Pride has no place in the path to greatness. Find men who are stronger, faster, sharper, and let them humble you. That humility will become fuel, and that fuel will build the kind of fire that never dies. And when you find your tribe, don't just take. Give. Encourage. Challenge. Share your wins and your losses. Brotherhood isn't just support. It's a crucible. And the more you lean into it, the faster you become a man the world takes seriously. Let's bring it back to the core truth. You don't need another motivational video. You need a battle plan and the balls to follow it. Every one of these steps, they're not theories, they're weapons. And if you apply them relentlessly, your life will transform in ways you can't even imagine yet. You'll walk different, speak different, think different. You'll stop begging for respect and start commanding it. Because everything about you will say, this man fights, this man disciplines, this man builds. Remember what Denzel Washington said, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Read that again. Let it tattoo itself on your brain. Make hardship your habit. Make ease your enemy. Stop running from the hard path and start running toward it. And if you fall, good. Get up harder. That's the point. This isn't about perfection. It's about pursuit. The moment you commit to living on the edge of your own discomfort, that's the moment you start becoming unbreakable. You've now got the tools, the action steps, the plan, but tactics without identity won't take you far. If you don't become the kind of man who lives by these principles, you'll revert. That's what happens to most guys. They sprint into self-improvement and crash into a wall. Why? Because they never built the mindset to sustain it. They never cultivated the habits to endure it, and they never forged the identity to lead it. So now, we shift from action to alignment, from doing to being, from strategy to character. Let's start where it all begins, mental toughness. Every man wants to be strong until strength is required. Mental toughness isn't born in victory. It's carved out in failure, in friction, in the fire. It's built when the weights feel too heavy, when your body screams stop, and your mind whispers just one more rep. It's built when you're rejected, ignored, doubted, and you keep going anyway. Mental toughness means showing up when you don't feel like it, when no one is clapping, when everything sucks, and you push forward anyway. It doesn't have to be loud. In fact, real toughness rarely is. It's silent. It's subtle. It's waking up when you want to sleep in. It's finishing what you start. It's controlling your thoughts when anxiety creeps in. It's grit. And grit doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in chaos when you refuse to fold. If you want a hard life, keep quitting. If you want a strong life, stop waiting to feel ready and start building your threshold. Physical mastery isn't optional. Your body is not a decoration. It's a declaration of how much you respect yourself, of how much pain you can endure, of how much discipline you apply. Lift heavy, run until your lungs scream. Eat like a warrior preparing for battle, not a child chasing sugar. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about command. The way you walk into a room changes when your body is forged by discomfort and repetition. If your heart races when you hear conflict, when you face confrontation, when life throws a punch, you need more physicality. Go fight, box, spout, grapple. Learn to lose. Learn to bleed. Learn to breathe through adversity. Most modern men have never felt their own breaking point, so they break at the slightest pressure. Your physical limits are tied to your mental limits. Raise one, and the other rises with it. Now let's talk about what most men avoid: financial discipline. You can't be a leader if you're living paycheck to paycheck. You can't protect, provide, or build if you're always one bad month away from collapse. Stop chasing quick wins. Learn how to earn. Learn how to budget. Study money like your future depends on it, because it does. It's not about greed. It's about power, freedom, direction. Start tracking every dollar. Cut the crap. No more emotional spending. No more subscriptions draining you for entertainment you don't need. Stop buying things to feel enough. You are enough when you build enough. Save aggressively, invest smart, stack cash, and more importantly, earn it with integrity. Build something, provide value. Money earned through mission always lasts longer than money made through shortcuts. Emotional control is where boys stay boys and men become men. If you lose your cool every time life hits you sideways, you're not strong. You're fragile. A man who controls his emotions controls the battlefield. That doesn't mean you suppress. It means you channel. You transmute pain into purpose, anger into action, fear into focus. You don't react, you respond. Imagine this. Someone insults you. Do you fire back instantly, or do you smile, assess, and respond with power? That's the difference between immaturity and mastery. Don't let your emotions drive your decisions. Let them inform your awareness, but you stay behind the wheel. Control is presence. Presence is power, and power is what earns respect. Now let's go deeper, spiritual grounding. You need something bigger than you. Call it God, call it mission, call it purpose. But without it, you'll drift. You'll crumble under pressure. You'll collapse when life hits harder than you expected. A man who only lives for himself is a man who dies with nothing. Find your anchor. It could be faith, a belief in a divine order. Or it could be your duty to your future family, to your legacy, to the younger men watching you. Whatever it is, it has to be bigger than your comfort. Because that's what will keep you upright when the storms hit. And they will hit. Purpose is the only thing stronger than pain. And without it, your discipline won't last. Let's bring in a quote here. Robert Greene said, "When you show yourself to the world and display your talents, you naturally stir all kinds of resentment. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. That's not arrogance. That's ownership. You want to be powerful? Stop diluting yourself to make others comfortable. Stop shrinking to fit in. Masculine identity isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about standing tall in who you are and letting the chips fall. When you master your mind, your body, your money, your emotions, and your purpose, you stop being a product of your environment. You become the environment, the kind of man others calibrate to. That's the difference between reacting to life and leading it. Let's recap. Mental toughness is your foundation. Physical mastery is your armor. Financial discipline is your leverage. Emotional control is your power. And spiritual grounding is your compass. Put those together, and you become a force of nature. Not a man who tries, but a man who executes. Not a man who reacts, but a man who builds. And once you live like this, everything around you starts to shift. People respect you differently. You move differently. Doors open that were always closed. Why? Because the world bends to those who bend themselves first. This isn't a phase. It's a lifestyle. You don't visit discipline. You live there. You don't practice masculinity when it's convenient. You embody it when it's hard. Because the man who thrives in chaos will never be at the mercy of comfort again. You've now seen what real masculine discipline looks like, from mindset to habits, from grit to growth. But now it's time to strip it all down. No more theory. No more quotes to inspire you. No more sugarcoating. Because here's the brutal truth. None of this matters if you still cling to your excuses like a child clings to a blanket. Masculinity doesn't make room for softness in spirit. In the next chapter of your life, it's reserved for those who are done negotiating with weakness. No more excuses. You're not too busy, you're just distracted. You're not too tired, you're just out of shape and mentally weak. You're not too old, you're too afraid to start over. Every excuse you make is a permission slip to stay small. And every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you feed the very thing killing your greatness. Comfort. Excuses are elegant lies you whisper to yourself to avoid responsibility. But here's the deal. Your future doesn't care how good your excuses sound. It only respects execution. You have to understand this. Life is not going to wait for you to feel ready. No one's going to drag you to your potential. No one's going to hand you discipline, drive, or purpose. You either build it or you don't. The men who rise, they're not waiting for perfect conditions. They take imperfect action. They embrace friction. They expect setbacks and keep swinging anyway. Pain is your ally. Most of you have been trained to avoid it, conditioned to numb it. But pain is the most honest mentor you'll ever have. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't care about your feelings. It shows you exactly where you're weak, where you've been hiding, where you've been playing small. And the moment you stop running from it and start leaning into it, that's when everything starts to shift. You want clarity? You'll find it on the other side of discomfort. You want power? Earn it by walking into the fire, not away from it. There's a reason the gym hurts. There's a reason cold showers suck. There's a reason early mornings are miserable, because they're building you, not breaking you. Get addicted to that process. Seek it out. Make discomfort your default setting. That's how warriors are made. Because here's the truth that soft culture won't tell you. The cost of comfort is your soul. Every dream you abandon to sleep in dies a little. Every time you scroll instead of execute, you bury your potential deeper. And every day you choose ease over effort, you drift further from the man you're supposed to be. Your legacy is bleeding out because you won't pick up the sword. Most men die before they're in the ground. They give up their fight, their edge, their hunger. They sedate themselves with food, porn, cheap dopamine, and shallow praise. They become shells, quiet, agreeable, soft. But not you. Not if you made it this far. Something in you is still alive. That primal fire, it's still flickering. You just need to stop smothering it with comfort. You say you want freedom, but freedom costs blood, sweat, sacrifice. That's the price. You want self-respect? Start keeping the promises you make to yourself. You want confidence? Start doing what you said you'd do when no one's watching. That's where power is born. In silence, in solitude, in the dark, cold hours where only discipline remains. You say you want to feel alive again? Then stop looking for life in comfort. Stop numbing out. Start moving. Start pushing. Wake up earlier. Work harder. Train when you don't feel like it. Face your fears head on. That's the path. Not easy, but real. Not glamorous, but lasting. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. And don't expect applause. Don't expect validation. No one claps for the man who chooses pain over pleasure. But that's what makes him powerful. That's what makes him rare. And that's why you will stand out. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. So kill the excuse. Embrace the pain. Abandon comfort like it's poison, because it is. And then walk forward like a man who knows the truth. That strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you become through fire, through friction, and through relentless, unbreakable action. You've now seen the cost of comfort and the reward of discomfort. You've seen how excuses destroy your power, how pain is the path, how habits and discipline carve out the man you're meant to become. So now we close the loop. No more theory, no more waiting, no more halfway living. This is your wake-up call, and it doesn't end when this video does. It begins right here. Because here's the final truth you need to hold tight. Comfort never made a king. Comfort never built an empire. It never forged a warrior. It never raised a conqueror. Every man who made history bled for it, fought for it, suffered for it. He didn't chase what felt good. He chased what made him good. So if you're sitting there hoping life will get better without you getting harder, smarter, sharper, you're lying to yourself. You want to be respected? Then become respectable. You want power? Then earn it with discipline. You want freedom? Then start with self-control. Comfort gives you none of that. It only offers you a slow death, dressed up as peace. And most men take the bait. They think being unbothered is strength, but it's weakness in disguise. It's surrender. And you didn't come this far to surrender. This channel, this message, this mission, it's not about motivation. Motivation fades. Faites. But conviction, brotherhood, daily discipline, that's what builds legacies. This isn't a one-time video. This is a movement, a fire, a brotherhood. If you feel that pull inside, the one that says, there's more in me, then you're not alone. You found your tribe. We're men who are done with mediocrity, done explaining ourselves, done chasing validation. We're here to sharpen, to train, to transform. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we do here. Every week, every video, every hard truth, we level up together. We don't complain. We don't coddle. We don't wait. We build, and we live by a creed, a declaration of war against weakness. A promise to ourselves that we'll never go back to the man who settled. So if you're ready to declare it, if you're ready to live it, drop it in the comments right now. No more comfort. I choose growth. Say it loud. Say it proud. Type it like you mean it. Then go live it like your future depends on it, because it does. You see, the world doesn't need more nice guys. It needs dangerous men with discipline. Men with direction. Men who rise, not because they feel like it, but because they said they would. That's what you're becoming. One habit at a time. One hard choice at a time. One uncomfortable step at a time. And eventually, that step becomes a sprint. So now, it's your turn. Like this video if it hit you hard. Share it with another man who needs to hear this truth. One brother, one friend, one fighter who's been drifting for too long. Then subscribe. Join the brotherhood. Because this channel isn't for passive watchers. It's for active warriors. Every week, we sharpen. Every week, we grow. And every week, we rise. Comfort is the enemy. Growth is the mission. And discipline is the weapon. The man you're becoming? He doesn't beg for change. He becomes the change. So stop waiting. Stop whining. Stand up. Lock in. And let's get to work. This is just the beginning. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome to Primal Will.